Now, the UN Security Council will be briefed today by its team in Syria, which has been monitoring what was supposed to be a ceasefire anyway, called last month. Meanwhile, governments around the world expelled ambassadors and top Syrian diplomats in a coordinated move yesterday, as human rights investigators reported details of the deaths of dozens of civilians, including many children, whom it said were summarily executed during last week's massacre in the region of Hula. The United States, France, the UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, Canada, Australia, the Netherlands and Switzerland all took action to expel the diplomats. Well, Nabila Ramdani is a journalist and expert on the Middle East. Nabila, what effect can these coordinated expulsions have on the behaviour of the government in Syria, do you think?
Well, I'm afraid this is an attempt to increase the diplomatic pressure on the al-Assad regime. But it seems to me a further tokenistic gesture because this is unlikely to lead Assad to change his ways in any way possible. As far as Assad is concerned, his government is already an insular government anyway. Assad is already an international pariah, and I don't think that expelling his diplomats from embassies around the world will make any difference in his attitude or indeed in his behaviour.
Now, he met with Kofi Annan yesterday. Kofi Annan, of course, the appointed UN representative to try to bring peace to Syria. Mr. Annan was talking about the country being at a tipping point. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I think he meant that as far as awareness of what is happening in Syria is concerned, the international community has been quite horrified, and indeed the world has been quite shocked by the recent reporting and indeed evidence as far as the Hula massacre is concerned in Syria. But of course, what has been particularly chilling is the way the children in particular have been killed by a combination of Assad's army and indeed his armed militia. But it has to be pointed out that this was not a horrific accident. It was an 18-hour assault specifically aimed at clearing an area. And as we know, Assad, once again, and his army have shown that absolutely nothing will stand in their way, let alone innocent children.
In terms of the international community and its position, there is a lack of agreement, certainly, isn't there, between the countries on the UN Security Council, Russia, an ally of the Assad regime. How crucial is the Russian position, do you think, in having influence on the behaviour of President Assad and his government? Because, of course, the new Russian President, Vladimir Putin, is visiting Damascus very soon.
Yes, very much so. And Russia's position towards Syria has been consistent throughout now this 18-month massacre of civilian populations. Of course, Hawla is a highlight of the horror, but let's not forget that these indiscriminate killings have been going on for more than 15 months now. Russia has consistently stood by its major ally in the region, going as far as even blaming the rebels for what's happened in Hawla, saying that they played a part in that horror as well. So we are very unlikely to see Russia change its position. Of course, Russia is still rattled by what happened in Libya, when a UN resolution aimed at protecting civilian lives effectively led to NATO taking sides in a civil war and the murder of Gaddafi, thus bringing about regime change. Now, that's what the Russians would not want to see happening in Syria, regime change. And, of course, Iran will also be an ally to Syria till the very end. And, in fact, the Iranian regime is helping maintaining Assad in power.
Thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning. Nabila Ramdani there, journalist and expert on the Middle East.